A manager stands at the front of a meeting room and asks, "Who can take this on?" Nobody wants it. It's an administrative time sink with zero reward. The seconds tick by. The silence gets heavier, almost physically painful. And then finally, a hand goes up to break the tension. Imagine two people who started on the same team on the exact same day. Let's call them Maya and Dan. Maya is warm and helpful. Within a month, she's quietly running the shared calendar and fixing the slide decks nobody else proofreads. Dan is pleasant, but when the manager asks for a volunteer to take notes, Dan studies his shoes. Maya takes the notes, again, while Dan spends those identical hours pushing the one big client account everyone is watching. 2 years pass. Dan receives a promotion and becomes the team lead. Maya is still indispensable, still universally beloved, and still sitting exactly where she started. Nobody schemed against her. She gave her time away, one helpful yes at a time, while Dan simply kept his hands free for the work with a name attached to it. The difference between them wasn't talent or work ethic. Working harder on the wrong tasks actively sabotages your career progression. Researchers actually have a clinical term for Maya's situation. They call it non-promotable work. Think of it as the invisible labor that keeps an organization functioning. It's sitting on the committee that meets for an hour every week to decide very little. It's coordinating the team lunch, mentoring the new hire, or cleaning out the shared refrigerator. It absolutely needs doing, but it provides zero measurable return on investment, no visibility, and zero leverage for your next performance review. It is an economic trap that punishes the exact people who are kindest and most willing to help. These thankless tasks fill your daily schedule while siphoning away your future potential. To understand why this happens, a team of economists ran a series of careful experiments published in the American Economic Review in 2017. They put people in small groups with real money on the line to see exactly who volunteers for tasks that pay the group but cost the individual. This chart visualizes their findings. It highlights a massive 48% gap in volunteering rates between different participant groups. The controlled setting proved this discrepancy had nothing to do with skill. Instead, the researchers found a stubborn behavioral pattern. Specific individuals felt a desperate pull to raise their hands, simply to break the uncomfortable silence in the room. The root of that pull is a personality pattern psychologists call sociotropy. This is the tendency to define your self-worth entirely through the approval of others. People who score high on this trait feel a deep, active discomfort with outperforming their peers. They worry that shining too brightly will make their colleagues envious or small, so without even realizing it, they purposefully hold back. They deflect the praise and retreat into invisible chores, operating on the belief that being liked is safer than being impressive.
Your generosity and your care for how others feel become the rope that ties you to the bottom rung. What feels internally like being a good team player is actually a documented psychological self-sabotage tactic. But stepping up to handle a chore is only half the problem. Every yes establishes a permanent market reputation with your leadership. From a manager's perspective, they have a problem to solve. When you continuously volunteer, you signal that your time is cheap and you won't push back. You make yourself a safe target for all future invisible assignments. This chart demonstrates the compounding nature of that cycle. Saying yes feeds directly into an increased target status. That immediately multiplies your invisible task load, which systematically compresses your capacity to take on high visibility projects. Eventually, your bandwidth for promotable work hits zero. The endpoint of this cycle is a quiet, resentful burnout. You feel trapped behind a wall of obligations you built yourself. And worse, management no longer views you as a future leader. They view you as a steady, reliable workhorse. The corporate system operates on an economic model that actively penalizes unmanaged generosity. It takes your willingness to help and turns it into a compounding debt of invisible labor. So, do you just stop caring? The false choice that keeps good people stuck is the belief that the only alternative to being a doormat is becoming a selfish jerk who lets the team down. There is a third path. You can audit incoming requests before you react to them by applying the 6-month filter. Before your hand goes up, you ask 2 criteria questions. Will this specific task be remembered in 6 months? And will it be remembered as mine? If you plan the party, no one writes it in your review. If you lead the project, they do. Employing strategic selfishness protects your capacity for the high-stakes, career-advancing work that actually matters. Knowing the logic is easy. The hard part is the immediate tactical hurdle, the terrifying moment when the word no is sitting in your throat, your heart is pounding, and the room is dead silent. You handle this with the graceful no. You don't have to be harsh or over-explain. You offer to share a past template. You suggest a team rotation for taking notes. Or you politely cite a direct conflict with a high-visibility project you're currently driving. If you allow that awful silence to sit, the work usually gets done by someone else or proves to be unnecessary. The world does not end when you stop being everyone's safety net. With your time protected, you can execute the final move. You renegotiate your workload. You clearly track the promotable wins you take on, and you speak to your manager about balancing team coordination with your trajectory as a professional. Setting boundaries is exactly what makes your kindness sustainable. True career advancement requires the courage to let the invisible work go, so you finally have the space to say yes to the work that counts.